The Bruins take down the Capitals 3-1 in game 5. Moving on to the second round, I'm Evan Marinofsky here with Conor Ryan of Boston Sports Journal. And Connor, we'll start with this. You were right. Bruins in 5. You called it from the start. You said it well before the series, and you were right. So I will allow you to take a 15-second victory lap.
Well, you look at how the series played out, it was kind of exactly what we kind of mapped out, right? I mean, there was clear mismatches in terms of Bruins had far and away the better, goalie in net. The Capitals, as big as they are, they have a defense that's slow and can get exposed. And as soon as, in years past where the Bruins might have run into trouble where they had to keep on relying on the top line to continue to be the main conduit there, you had so many other guys break through and contribute, whether that's, guys on the blue line like Charlie McAvoy, Matt Grzelcyk. You have Craig Smith scoring the double OT winner, Taylor Hall, all these other guys chipping in. So when you add, I think, how much that secondary scoring supplements what you get from, the guys you expect to be great, every single game in Bergeron and Marchand and Pastrnak, you get kind of the result you have here where the Capitals were already in trouble going into it based on these matchups. And then you add Rask on top of it, who slams the door in game 5. You get where you're at, right?
Yeah. So game 5 was sort of the microcosm of all that, right? I mean, you have, the speed of the Capitals defense getting exposed on the Pastrnak goal, and then obviously giving him Bergeron all that time and space on one of his goals. And then, you have Ilya Samsonov letting in a really, really soft blocker side goal for Bergeron's goal. That's not going to look. I tweeted, do I wonder what Ovechkin's yelling at him during the second intermission? And then no more was that clear than how well Tuukka Rask played in game 5. 40 stops. So for all you out there who say he's not good in big games, this was a pretty big game, and Tuukka Rask was as good as it gets.
Yeah, remember, literally less than a week ago when we were, debating, or people were bringing up in debates that Jeremy Swayman was going to get game 2 because Rask let in a deflection goal in overtime. Is it crazy how just the ebbs and flows of how like one series can go from that first game to where we are now, where again, it's like, oh, like the matches were in our favor now. It's like, oh, that's what we mapped out before it even started. But yeah, no, Rask was unbelievable on Sunday night. I mean, just in control, was tracking pucks well. Even had that shot where I think it was from Carlson, where I think it hit him like right in the armpit, but was still squared away, like even though it was completely screened. And I think if you're an opponent, that's when it gets scary, right? When you see a guy like Rask who's already locked in. I mean, he denies Sherry where he was squared away right there on that shot. Tough to beat a goalie when they're locked in and tracking the puck as well as he was today. And that's kind of been the case ever since game 1, right? I mean, what do you know? Rask gets locked in and the Bruins win 4 straight. So that's exactly what you need from him in this series. It's only going to get tougher going forward, but you kind of look at this matchup, right? And as much as I think we talked about that, the Bruins had clear, matchups that they were going to exploit against the Capitals. It's not like this was, like a team that was a tomato can or anything like that. Like this team very well had the offensive firepower, had the playoff, reputation, had the size to knock you around and drag this out into a war of attrition if they wanted to. But credit to Rask, who I think, the best thing about Rask is that this Capitals team has tons of guys who can extend a lead out of nowhere, right? Just with a quick one time or what have you. There was never a situation in any of these games where Rask let a bad goal or a bad break let the game get away from him, right? Where you had, all of a sudden you get 2 goals in 31 seconds or something where you're like, okay, like here we go. Like this is how they kind of steal momentum. You never had that. Like even when he let in goals that, he was, thinking that he should have had, never let that get to him as soon as the puck dropped once again, which I think was key for them. And that's, if he plays like that, right? If he's square to the puck, if he's tracking pucks, if has a short memory, he's going to be in position to win you a lot of games here going forward.
And if there was ever a time that could have happened, it was the beginning of the third period.
Yes.
In game 5 where Sherry scores that goal. And then it's like, okay, now the Caps are really starting to push. I also think once that he made that save on Sherry in the first, it was clear he was very, very focused and very locked in. I mean, if you saw that he read that play perfectly. That, most goalies that goes right in on the one timer, and he was right there. And that's a perfect example of how he's just in position. Like that save didn't look incredible, But
Right.
it was like for
Hmm.
most goalies, they'd be sprawled out, but he was in
Right.
position and he read the play perfectly. And it was clear he was locked in. You also mentioned the armpit save. Now, what's funny is I remember a few years ago when they were playing against the Hurricanes in Carolina, when the Hurricanes were just peppering Rask from every which way, there was a play where he was completely screened and the puck just, Justin Williams took a shot and went right in his glove. Just right in his glove. Didn't see it, just went right in his glove. And it was that kind of night for Rask. He's locked in. And we'll get into the long-term ramifications of what this all means on Bruins Beat on Tuesday. The other thing, Patrice Bergeron on 2 goals. Shouldn't surprise anybody. Obviously came up big, but Cassie mentioned it after the game. Also has to be pretty big because it's his first series win as a captain over his former captain.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was, I wouldn't even say typical, but are you surprised even at this point when a guy like Bergeron has a casual 2-goal game in a series clinching
Casual.
matchup like that, right? I mean, that's just, again, a testament to kind of just the resume and the reputation he's built. And, that I think we're going to dissect probably this first round matchup in the coming days, just because we've got a little bit of a waiting time before we wait for Pittsburgh or the Islanders to get decided. But you look at that first line, and they got their goals down the tail end of it, right? But at 5-on-5, they dominated the Capitals in that series. Like that, just an absurd amount, especially when McAvoy and Grzelcyk were out there with them. I mean, the ice was so tilted in their favor that I think you look at any series going forward, if that top line's playing like that and you're getting that supplemental scoring from other lines as well, you have to imagine that all that puck possession is going to generally regress to the mean, and you're going to get more of a sustained scoring output, especially at even strength. So if they're playing like that, I mean, Bruins are going to be a tough out regardless the way they're playing with the additions made at the deadline. But that was just a clinic that Bergeron and that line put on against, again, defense maybe isn't that great, but a forward core that can leave some welts against you, can really match you in the scoring department, completely shut down when they were out there. So
Yeah. Yeah, I also think it's interesting. As good as the Bergeron line played, they didn't score in every game. This
no.
was not like a series where they were just carried the offense. They didn't. They didn't. As good as they were, the Krejci line stepped up and had some big goals in this series. And I think that was important as well. Like I think you mentioned it. They're deep, and we've said this for so long now. They're the deepest team Cassie's ever had. So yeah, whoever you play next, which we'll get into on Bruins Beat and Poke the Bear, you don't have to worry about just one line getting shut down. And we've been saying that for quite a while, but a little bit of a layoff here as the Bruins wait for the Islanders and Penguins series. I don't expect that to be over anytime soon. And that series,
No.
I do believe, is going to go 7. But at any rate, Connor will have all your stuff over at Boston Sports Journal, me over at CLNS Media. Stay tuned with both of us for coverage the rest of the way.